Most of you watching this video know that gardening at our age is not what it used to be. Your knees are not as forgiving as they were 30 years ago. Bending over weeds for 2 hours leaves your back stiff for the next 3 days. The idea of spending every Saturday hauling watering cans around the yard is not appealing, and honestly, it should not be. Here is the truth most gardening channels will not tell you. 11 specific plants exist that grow themselves with almost no effort, produce harvest every single year for the rest of your life, and either save you serious money at the grocery store or replace the expensive bottled products you currently buy at the pharmacy. These are the plants for the gardener who has earned the right to enjoy her garden rather than work in it. Most of these 11 are hardy kitchen herbs that ignore neglect completely. A couple of them are easy-to-grow spices that quietly save you money for years. Every single one of them is something you can plant once, walk away from, and harvest from for the next 10 to 20 years without doing the kind of physical work that wears out your back and your patience. And hidden inside this list of 11 are 2 answers most homeowners never figure out on their own. The first answer is the most valuable herb or spice you can grow with almost no effort, the one that returns more money per square foot than any vegetable in your garden. The second answer is the one plant on this list that many homeowners already have growing somewhere on their property without knowing it, a plant they have walked past for years, mowed around, or pulled as a weed, never realizing what it is. 2 mysteries hidden in this list tonight. 2 reveals. 2 different plant numbers. Pay close attention to every plant. Drop both your guesses in the comments while you still have the chance. 11 plants, 2 hidden answers. Let us begin. Plant 1, chives, Allium scoenoprasum. The bright green hollow tubular leaves of chives are the most forgiving culinary herb in any home garden and the easiest entry point for anyone who has never grown food at home before. Chives form a tidy, compact clump of slender hollow leaves topped in late spring with edible lavender pink puffball flowers. The plant comes back every single year from the same crown without any intervention from you. Cold winters do not kill it. Hot summers do not kill it. Drought slows it down briefly, but does not kill it. A planting that goes in the ground this spring will still be producing in 20 years. Why this fits the gardener who wants results without the labor? Plant once. Water occasionally during the first 6 weeks while the roots establish. Then walk away. The clump expands slowly each year, providing more harvest as time goes on. Cut whatever you need with kitchen scissors, and the plant immediately starts growing new leaves to replace what you took. No staking, no spraying, no winter protection. Nothing that requires bending over for hours, culinary use, and the money it saves. A small bunch of fresh chives at the grocery store costs $3 to $4, lasts a week in the refrigerator before going slimy, and gets thrown away half-used. A single mature chive plant in a patio container or a corner of your yard provides unlimited fresh chives all summer, for free, snipped fresh onto baked potatoes, scrambled eggs, deviled eggs, soft cheese spreads, creamy pasta sauces, and any creamy salad dressing. The purple flowers themselves are edible and add a beautiful color note to summer salads. Fresh chives from your yard meaningfully better than the dried jar product that costs $4 to $6 and loses its flavor within months. Medicinal value for our age. Chives belong to the Allium family alongside garlic, onions, and leeks. The leaves contain measurable concentrations of vitamin K, which supports bone health and proper blood clotting function, both genuine concerns for women past 60 whose risk of osteoporosis and blood clotting issues both increase with age. The sulfur compounds throughout the plant support cardiovascular health, another major concern for our generation. Regular consumption of chives in cooking provides a small but reliable dose of these compounds without the strong garlic breath effect that comes from raw garlic cloves. Plant chives in full sun to part shade in any reasonable garden soil. Hardy across USDA zones 3 through 9, meaning essentially every part of the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Buy a small starter plant from a garden center for $5 to $7 in spring, or split a friend's existing clump for free. That single starter plant feeds you forever. Plant 2 oregano, Oreganum vulgare. the aromatic spreading perennial that quietly turns into one of the most useful plants in any low-effort garden after a single season of establishment. Oregano forms a low-spreading mat of small dark green oval leaves on woody stems that reach 8 to 12 inches tall. The plant produces small pale pink or white flowers in midsummer that bees and butterflies absolutely love. Once established, oregano spreads gradually outward from its original planting and becomes a permanent ground cover that requires zero ongoing input from you. Why this fits the gardener who wants results without the labor. Drought-tolerant, pest-resistant, ignores poor rocky soil, and actually prefers it. Hot afternoon sun makes oregano stronger, not weaker. The plant tolerates harsh winters across most of North America without any protection. A planting from one small starter plant becomes a substantial harvestable patch within 2 seasons. Culinary use and the money it saves. A small jar of dried oregano at the grocery store costs $3 to $5 and loses most of its potency within 6 months on your spice shelf. A small mature oregano patch in your yard provides enough harvest each summer to dry and store an entire year of cooking supply for free. Pizza sauce, pasta sauce, marinara, Mediterranean roasted vegetables, Greek salad dressing, marinades for chicken and lamb. The flavor of fresh homegrown oregano is dramatically more complex than the dusty dried product sold in supermarket spice jars. Dry your own harvest simply by hanging cut stems upside down in a cool, dry place for 2 weeks. Medicinal value for our age. Oregano contains carvacrol and thymol, 2 compounds with measurable antibacterial and antifungal effects studied extensively in published research. For women in their 60s and 70s, the immune support benefits matter more than they did in our 40s. Traditional herbal medicine uses oregano tea for respiratory infections, digestive complaints, and immune support. Many of us spend significantly more on cold and flu remedies, throat lozenges, and decongestants than we did 20 years ago. A reliable supply of fresh oregano gives you a traditional first-line option for mild respiratory complaints before reaching for the medicine cabinet. Plant oregano in full sun in well-drained soil. Avoid heavy clay or constant wet conditions. Hardy across USDA zones 4 through 10. One small starter plant from a garden center costs $5 to $8 and produces harvest for the next 20 years. 2 plants in. 2 mysteries on the table. Drop both your guesses in the comments right now. Which plant number on this list is the most valuable herb or spice you can grow with almost no effort? The one that returns more money per square foot than any vegetable in your garden? And which plant number is the one most homeowners already have growing somewhere on their property without knowing what it is? 2 different plants. 2 different answers. Plant 3, plant 5, plant 9, plant 11. Whatever your gut is telling you on either question, drop both numbers in the comments before I reveal anything. The clock is running on both. Make your guesses now. Plant 3, ginger, Zingiber officinale. The tropical rhizome that most homeowners assume cannot be grown at home in cold American or Canadian or British climates, and that assumption is exactly why they will never realize what I am about to tell you. Stop. This is it. This is the answer to the first mystery. Plant 3, ginger, the single most valuable plant on this entire list of 11. If you commented plant 3 in the comments before this reveal, you saw it coming when nobody else did, and you understood something the average home gardener never figures out. I want to acknowledge you right now. Your instinct on this was correct. Stay with me through the rest of the video because the second mystery is still completely open. Here is why ginger is the answer, and why it matters specifically to those of us watching our retirement budgets. Fresh organic ginger root sells at grocery stores and farmers markets for $8 to $12 per pound for conventional, $15 to $25 per pound for organic. A single ginger rhizome planted in a large patio container in early spring produces 1 to 2 pounds of harvestable ginger by late autumn. The math is genuinely shocking once you understand it. A starter rhizome from any grocery store costs you $1. The harvest from that single rhizome 8 months later is worth $15 to $50 at current retail prices. Multiply across multiple containers and a casual home grower easily produces several. $100 of fresh ginger per year from a back patio with almost zero ongoing maintenance. Why this fits the gardener who wants results without the labor. Buy an organic ginger root from the grocery store produce section. Break it into pieces with visible eye buds. Plant each piece in a large container of rich potting mix. Water occasionally during establishment, then again only when the soil dries out. Set the container in a warm, partially shaded location on your patio. Walk away. The plant produces attractive, long, strap-like green leaves through the summer that look genuinely beautiful and tropical. In autumn, after the foliage dies back, tip the container out and harvest the dramatically expanded rhizome mass underneath. No bending, no weeding, almost no physical work at all across the entire growing season. Culinary use. Fresh ginger is irreplaceable in Asian cooking, Indian curries, baked goods, and homemade ginger tea. Homemade ginger ale, pickled ginger, and crystallized ginger candy all become trivially easy when you have a steady home supply. Fresh ginger from your patio tastes dramatically more complex than the dried powder you currently keep in the spice rack. Medicinal value for our age. Ginger has been used in traditional medicine for over 2,000 years and is one of the few traditional remedies with substantial modern research support. Gingerol, the active compound, has measurable anti-nausea effects, anti-inflammatory effects studied for arthritis and joint pain, and digestive support effects, documented for the kind of indigestion many of us deal with more frequently after 60. A daily piece of fresh ginger in tea is one of the most reliable natural supports available for the everyday inflammation and digestive complaints that come with our age. Safety note: ginger is generally safe in culinary quantities. Those of us taking prescription blood thinners should discuss medicinal ginger consumption with our doctor because the plant has mild natural blood thinning effects. Plant ginger in a large container of rich, well-drained potting mix in late spring once temperatures are reliably above 60 degrees. Indoor windowsill growing works for early starting. Outdoor growing on a patio works through the warm season across the entire United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Bring the container indoors before the first hard frost to harvest at your leisure through the winter. Plant 4. Thyme, Thymus vulgaris, the classic Mediterranean herb that essentially refuses to die once established and provides usable harvest decades from a single small starter plant. Thyme forms a low woody spreading mat of tiny aromatic leaves on slender stems. The plant produces small pink, lavender, or white flowers in early summer that bees love. Thyme is so drought-tolerant and tough that it is regularly used in green roof installations and rocky landscape settings where almost no other plant will survive. Why this fits the gardener who wants results without the labor. Drought-proof, heat-proof, cold-tolerant down to USDA Zone 4. Tolerates poor rocky sandy soil. Pest-free for all practical purposes. The first mystery is now resolved, but the second mystery is still wide open. So keep paying close attention to every plant from here forward. Thyme is not the second mystery answer. Culinary use and the money it saves. A small bottle of dried thyme at the grocery store costs $3 to $5 and tastes like sawdust within a few months of opening. A mature thyme plant in your yard provides infinite fresh harvest because you only need a few sprigs for any single recipe. Thyme is foundational in French cuisine and essential in soups, stews, braises, poultry seasoning, and slow-roasted dishes. The leaves release their flavors slowly during long cooking, making thyme genuinely irreplaceable in dishes that simmer for hours. Medicinal value for our age. Thyme contains thymol, a powerful antiseptic compound used historically in mouthwashes, throat lozenges, and surgical antiseptics. Thyme tea is a traditional remedy for coughs, sore throats, and bronchial congestion across European and Middle Eastern herbal medicine. Modern over-the-counter cough drops and antiseptic mouthwashes still rely on thymol-based formulations descended from this herb. For those of us who deal with more frequent winter respiratory issues than we did at younger ages, a home supply of thyme provides an inexpensive traditional option that you can keep on hand year-round. Plant thyme in full sun in well-drained soil that leans toward sandy or rocky. Avoid wet, heavy soil or constant irrigation. hardy across USDA zones 4 through 9. A small starter plant from any garden center costs $4 to $7 and produces harvest reliably for 15 to 20 years. Plant 5, rosemary, Salvia rosmarinus, the aromatic evergreen Mediterranean shrub that requires almost no maintenance once. Established and serves as both a culinary herb and an ornamental landscape plant simultaneously. Rosemary forms a substantial woody evergreen shrub reaching 3 to 5 feet tall in warm climates, smaller as a container plant in cold climates. The narrow needle-like dark green aromatic leaves release a distinctive pine camphor fragrance when brushed or crushed. Small pale blue or pink flowers appear in spring and attract early season pollinators. Why this fits the gardener who wants results without the labor. Drought-loving once established, heat-tolerant, pest-resistant, evergreen, so you have year-round harvest in warm climates and year-round container ornamental presence in cold climates. The plant essentially thrives on neglect and actively dislikes excessive watering or rich soil. No staking, no deadheading, no pruning beyond an occasional light-shaped trim, culinary use and the money it saves. A small jar of dried rosemary at the grocery store costs $4 to $6 and tastes faintly like pine needles after a few months. Fresh rosemary from your shrub is dramatically more complex, with bright citrusy notes that disappear during commercial drying. Rosemary is irreplaceable in Mediterranean and Italian cooking. Lamb, roast potatoes, focaccia, roasted vegetables, marinades, and herb-infused olive oils all benefit from fresh rosemary. One mature shrub provides enough harvest to give bundles of fresh rosemary to friends and family every Christmas. Medicinal value for our age. Rosemary contains rosmarinic acid and carnosic acid, both studied compounds with documented anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. The traditional association between rosemary and memory enhancement is supported by some modern research showing measurable cognitive effects from simply inhaling rosemary aroma during memory tasks. For those of us in our 60s and 70s who think about cognitive support and memory more than we did at younger ages, growing rosemary right outside the door provides both a culinary herb and a daily traditional brain support option. Rosemary-infused oil is also a traditional treatment for hair thinning and scalp health, a concern for many of us as we age. Safety note: rosemary in culinary quantities is safe for everyone. Concentrated medicinal doses or essential oil should be avoided during pregnancy. Plant rosemary in full sun in well-drained soil, hardy in the ground across USDA, Zone 7 through 10. Container grown for Zone 6 and colder, with the container moved to a cool indoor location for winter dormancy. A small starter plant from a garden center costs $6 to $10 in lives for 15 years or more. Plant 6, sage. Salvia officinalis, the silvery-leaved woody perennial that is one of the most underrated plants in the entire home herb garden and the herb on this list with the most specific relevance to women past 50. Sage forms a substantial woody shrub reaching 2 to 3 feet tall and equally wide. The soft, fuzzy, silver-green oval leaves are highly aromatic and remain on the plant year-round in mild climates. Spikes of purple or blue flowers appear in early summer and attract bumblebees in significant numbers. Why this fits the gardener who wants results without the labor. Drought-tolerant, cold-hardy down to Zone 4, almost completely pest-free. The plant ignores neglect and actively thrives in lean, rocky soil with minimal watering. A planting from one starter plant lasts 15 to 20 years. Culinary use and the money it saves. A small jar of dried sage at the grocery store costs $4 to $6. Fresh sage from your yard is dramatically more potent. Sage is the defining herb of American Thanksgiving stuffing and traditional sausage seasoning. Brown butter sage sauce on ravioli or gnocchi is one of the simplest legendary pasta dishes in Italian-American cooking. A few fresh leaves go a long way because the flavor is concentrated. Medicinal value for our age, and this matters specifically. Sage has been used in traditional medicine for thousands of years for one application that has direct relevance to women in our age range. Traditional herbal medicine has used sage tea for hot flashes, night sweats, and excess perspiration since ancient Greek and Roman times. Modern research has actually documented measurable effects of sage extract on the perspiration-related symptoms many women experience during and after menopause. Sage tea, brewed from fresh leaves out of your own garden, is one of the few traditional remedies for these specific symptoms that has both deep historical use and modern research validation. The Latin name salvia literally means to save or to heal, and our generation of women is exactly who that name was reserved for. Sage tea also has documented effects on cognitive function in older adults, and traditional use includes sore throat gargles and digestive support after heavy meals. The plant essentially functions as a multi-purpose traditional remedy you grow once and use for decades. Safety note: sage in culinary quantities is safe for everyone. Concentrated medicinal doses or long-term sage tea consumption every day should not be combined with certain seizure medications, and women still in early menopause taking hormone therapy should check with their doctor before regular medicinal use. Plant sage in full sun in well-drained soil, hardy across USDA zones 4 through 10. A small starter plant from a garden center costs $5 to $8 and produces harvest for the next 2 decades. Just to be completely clear for anyone who joined this video after plant 3, yes, ginger at plant 3 was the answer to the first mystery, the most valuable herb or spice on this entire list. If you commented plant 3 in the comments before that reveal, you understood the value signal correctly, and I see you. But the second mystery is still completely open. 5 plants remaining. One of them is the answer. Which plant number is the one most homeowners already have growing on their property without realizing what it is? Drop your guess in the comments right now if you have not already. Subscribe right now so you don't miss next week's mystery list, and the gardeners who watch every video get good at spotting the answer faster every time. While you are commenting your second mystery guess, tell me which state you are gardening in. I read every single comment, and your answers shape exactly what topics I cover next. Plant 7, mint. Mentha species. The herb that essentially refuses to die under any circumstances, sometimes to the point of becoming a problem in garden beds where it spreads beyond its intended space. Mint forms a vigorous spreading perennial with bright green or purple-tinged aromatic leaves on square stems. Several species are commonly grown, including peppermint, spearmint, chocolate mint, and apple mint, each with slightly different flavor profiles. The plant produces small lavender flowers in midsummer that pollinators love. Why this fits the gardener who wants results without the labor. Plant mint, and you will have mint forever. The plant spreads aggressively through underground runners and is essentially impossible to eradicate once established. Drought-tolerant, cold-hardy, pest-free. The standard recommendation is to plant mint in a large patio container or in a contained garden bed bordered by hard edging to prevent its spread into surrounding garden areas. Container growing is actually easier than in-ground because you avoid the spread issue entirely. Culinary use and the money it saves. A small bunch of fresh mint at the grocery store costs $3 to $4 and lasts roughly a week. A small container of mint on your patio provides enough fresh harvest for an entire family to use mint freely all summer. Tabbouleh, faddish, Moroccan mint tea, Vietnamese spring rolls, fresh mint cocktails, summer fruit salads. Fresh mint from your container is dramatically more flavorful than the somewhat dusty mint sold at the grocery store. Medicinal value for our age. Mint contains menthol, the cooling compound that gives the plant its distinctive sensation. Mint tea is a traditional digestive aid used across cultures to soothe the indigestion and bloating after meals that many of us experience more frequently after 60. Peppermint specifically has been studied for irritable bowel syndrome with measurable benefit in some patients. Inhaled mint vapor from a hot tea or steam inhalation is a traditional remedy for congestion and tension headaches. Safety note: mint is generally safe but can aggravate gastroesophageal reflux disease in those of us who already deal with heartburn. If you take heartburn medications regularly, mint tea may worsen your symptoms rather than help them. Concentrated peppermint essential oil should never be applied undiluted to skin and should not be given to small children visiting grandchildren in the household because menthol can cause breathing difficulties in infants. Plant mint in a large container or in a contained bed with metal edging that extends at least 8 inches deep into the soil. Full sun to part shade. Any reasonable soil. Hardy across USDA zones 3 through 11. A small starter plant from a garden center costs $4 to $7 and produces aggressive harvest forever. Plant 8, garlic chives, Allium tuberosum. The hardier flat-leaved Asian cousin of regular chives that delivers a distinctly garlicky flavor and is genuinely one of the most useful overlooked plants in any home herb garden. Garlic chives form a clumping perennial with flat strap-like dark green leaves rather than the hollow round leaves of regular chives. The plant reaches 12 to 18 inches tall and produces beautiful white star-shaped flower clusters in late summer that attract late-season pollinators. The leaves carry a distinct garlic onion flavor that is more assertive than regular chives. Why this fits the gardener who wants results without the labor. Even more cold hardy than regular chives, surviving USDA zone 3 winters without any protection, drought tolerant, pest resistant. The clump expands gradually each year, providing more harvest as time passes. Self-seeds modestly if the flower heads are left to mature. Culinary use and the money it saves. Garlic chives let you add the garlic flavor to dishes without the strong garlic breath that comes from raw cloves, which matters more as we get older and become more sensitive to garlic. A small mature clump provides unlimited harvest forever. Korean dumpling filling, Chinese chive pancakes, stir-fried with eggs, compound on butters, omelets, savory pastries, and Asian-inspired marinades all benefit from fresh garlic chives. Medicinal value for our age. Garlic chives share the cardiovascular health associations of the larger allium family, supported by the sulfur compounds present throughout the plant. The compounds support healthy cholesterol levels and blood pressure regulation, both ongoing health concerns for our generation. The plant also provides usable vitamin K, vitamin C, and folate concentrations that contribute meaningfully to daily nutritional intake when consumed regularly. Plant garlic chives in full sun in any reasonable garden soil, hardy across USDA zones 3 through 9. A small starter plant from an Asian grocery or specialty garden center costs $5 to $8, or seeds can be started indoors in early spring for less than $3. Plant 9, bay laurel, Laurus nobilis, the Mediterranean evergreen tree whose leaves are the source of the bay leaves used in slow-cooked dishes worldwide, and one of the slowest aging plants you can own. Bay laurel forms a substantial evergreen tree or large shrub that can reach 20 feet tall in warm climates if allowed to grow freely. As a container plant in cold climates, the plant maintains a more compact form of 3 to 6 feet tall. The aromatic dark green oval leaves are usable fresh or dried for cooking, and a single mature plant produces unlimited harvest because you only need a few leaves at a time. Why this fits the gardener who wants results without the labor. Bay laurel is essentially a low-maintenance evergreen tree, drought-tolerant, pest-resistant. The plant requires almost no input beyond occasional watering during severe drought and periodic light shade pruning if you want to maintain a specific size. Container growing protects the plant in cold climates by allowing winter movement to a sheltered location. Culinary use and the money it saves. A small jar of dried bay leaves at the grocery store costs $6 to $8 for less than half an ounce of leaves, and those leaves lose their flavor within months on your spice shelf. A mature bay laurel tree in a container by your back door provides infinite fresh bay leaves for decades from a single $10 starter plant. Bay leaves are added whole to soups, stews, braises, bone broth, and slow-cooked beans. Fresh bay leaves from your own tree are dramatically more aromatic than dried supermarket bay leaves. Medicinal value for our age. Bay laurel leaves contain eucalyptol and linalool, both compounds with documented mild antibacterial and digestive support effects. Traditional Mediterranean medicine uses bay leaf tea for the kind of mild digestive complaints and respiratory congestion many of us deal with seasonally. The leaves are also traditionally placed in dried bean and grain storage containers to repel pantry pests, a practical use that saves money on stored pantry goods. Critical safety note: Whole bay leaves are a serious choking hazard and must be removed from cooked food before serving. The leaves do not soften during cooking and have sharp edges that can lacerate the throat or digestive tract if swallowed. This is a non-negotiable safety practice that matters even more for those of us in older age brackets where choking incidents become more dangerous. Never serve a dish without removing every bay leaf first. Plant bay laurel in full sun to part shade. Hardy in the ground across Usta zones 8 through 10. Container grown for zones 7 and colder, with the container moved indoors to a cool, bright location for winter. A small starter plant from a specialty herb nursery costs $10 to $20 and produces harvest for the rest of your gardening life. Plant 10, horseradish, Armoracia rusticana, the pungent root spice that flavors cocktail sauce, prime rib accompaniment, and authentic Bloody Mary cocktails. Horseradish forms a substantial leafy perennial with large, coarse-textured, dark green oval leaves reaching 2 to 3 feet tall. The plant is grown for its deep taproot, which is harvested in autumn after the leaves die back. The roots are gnarled, pale tan on the outside, and bright white inside with a pungent mustard-like aroma when freshly cut. Why this fits the gardener who wants results without the labor. Horseradish is essentially immortal once planted. The deep taproot system makes the plant nearly impossible to kill or remove completely from a planting site, drought-tolerant, cold hardy down to zone 3, pest-resistant. The plant requires zero ongoing input beyond annual root harvest in autumn, culinary use, and the money it saves. A small jar of prepared horseradish at the grocery store costs $4 to $6 and loses potency within weeks of opening. Fresh horseradish root from your own plant is dramatically more pungent and stays potent for months in the refrigerator. Grated fresh on prime rib, mixed into cocktail sauce for shrimp, added to deviled eggs, stirred into Bloody Marys, and used in traditional German and Eastern European cuisine. Medicinal value for our age. Horseradish contains glucosinolates and isothiocyanates, the same sulfur compounds found in mustard and wasabi that produce the sinus-clearing effect of these plants. Traditional medicine uses horseradish for sinus congestion, respiratory infections, and general circulation support. For those of us who experience more frequent sinus issues seasonally, a small amount of freshly grated horseradish provides genuine immediate relief that often outperforms drugstore decongestants. Safety note: fresh horseradish root is extremely pungent. Grate it in a well-ventilated area or outdoors because the volatile compounds released during grating can cause significant eye and respiratory irritation, especially for those of us with sensitive eyes. People with thyroid conditions should consult their doctor before regular medicinal use because the goitrogenic compounds can interfere with iodine uptake. Plant horseradish in full sun in deep, loose soil. Hardy across Uzda, zones 3 through 9. A single root cutting from a garden center, farmer's market, or grocery store costs $5 to $10 and establishes a permanent planting that produces harvest for the rest of your life. Stop everything. Plant 10 was the answer to the second mystery, horseradish. The plant most homeowners already have growing somewhere on their property without knowing what it is. Think back to what I just told you about it. The plant is essentially immortal once planted. The deep taproot makes it nearly impossible to remove. The large, coarse green leaves look almost identical to massive wild dock or giant mustard greens to the untrained eye. If you aren't looking closely, you'd easily mistake a 50-year-old patch for a stubborn cluster of overgrown weeds. And once an old gardener planted horseradish in a yard 60 or 80 years ago, the plant is still there today, regardless of how many homeowners have come and gone. If your house was built before the 1970s, walk outside tomorrow morning and look in old foundation beds, under back porches, along property line fences, in forgotten corners of the yard. If you find a patch of broad, rough green leaves growing in a spot nobody ever planted, you might have horseradish that has been quietly waiting under your soil for the last 50 years. Dig down. If the root underneath is gnarled, pale tan outside, bright white inside, with a pungent mustard aroma when you cut it, you have inherited a horseradish patch worth more than any garden center plant you could buy. If you commented plant 10 in the comments earlier, You understood something most homeowners never figure out. You read between the lines of what I told you about plants that persist forever once planted, and you correctly identified the one homeowners most often inherit without knowing it. That quality of attention is genuinely rare in this world. I see you. And if this video has already given you something useful tonight, share this video with a gardener friend who needs to see it. The gardeners who share knowledge generously are the ones who build real community in their neighborhoods, and your willingness to forward this video right now is exactly that kind of generosity. Plant 11. Parsley. Petroselinum crispum. The universally recognized green herb that closes this list because it is the herb every kitchen genuinely uses and the one with direct nutritional relevance to women in our age range. Parsley forms a tidy biennial plant with bright green, deeply divided leaves on slender stems. The plant comes in two main forms: flat-leaf Italian parsley with smooth, strong-flavored leaves, and curly parsley with frilly decorative leaves. Italian parsley has stronger culinary flavor and is preferred for cooking. Curly parsley is more decorative and traditionally used for garnish. Why this fits the gardener who wants results without the labor. Parsley is a hardy biennial that produces leaves the first year, flowers the second year, then dies after setting seed. The self-seeded next generation comes up naturally the following spring, meaning a single planting maintains itself permanently with zero intervention. Drought-tolerant, cold-hardy, pest-resistant, culinary use and the money it saves. A small bunch of fresh parsley at the grocery store costs $2 to $3 and lasts barely a week before going slimy in the refrigerator drawer. A small parsley patch in your yard provides unlimited fresh harvest all summer. Tabbouleh, chimichurri, salsa verde, gremolata, persilade, and the standard finishing garnish on countless plated dishes. Medicinal value for our age, and this matters specifically for women. Parsley is one of the richest dietary sources of vitamin K available in the food supply. Vitamin K is essential for both blood clotting function and bone health. And bone health is one of the most important nutritional concerns for women past 60. Osteoporosis affects roughly 1 in 3 women over 50, and adequate vitamin K intake is one of the documented protective dietary factors against bone density loss. Regular consumption of fresh parsley, either in cooking or in green smoothies, provides a steady, reliable source of vitamin K that supplement bottles often deliver inconsistently. Parsley also contains apigenin, a flavonoid studied for traditional anti-inflammatory effects, and the herb is a traditional breath freshener after garlic-heavy meals. Safety note: parsley in culinary quantities is safe for everyone, including those on blood-thinning medications when consumed in normal cooking amounts. Concentrated medicinal doses or parsley essential oil should be avoided by women taking warfarin or other blood thinners because the high vitamin K content can interfere with medication efficacy at high doses. Plant parsley in full sun to part shade in moist garden soil. Hardy across USDA zones 5 through 9 as a biennial that self-seeds reliably. Seeds are cheap at any garden center, or buy small starter plants for $3 to $5 each in spring. 11 plants, 2 mysteries, 2 answers. Ginger at plant 3 for the most valuable herb or spice on the list. Horseradish at plant 10 for the one most homeowners already have growing, without knowing it. Every single plant on this list is something the gardener who has earned the right to enjoy her garden can grow with almost zero ongoing physical effort, producing usable harvest year after year for the next 10 to 20 years from one initial planting. The total upfront cost to plant all 11 from quality starter plants is roughly $70 to $90, less than 3 months of grocery store herb purchases. The savings across a decade run into the thousands of dollars in herbs, spices, and over-the-counter remedies you no longer need to buy. To everyone who guessed ginger correctly at plant 3, you read the value signal in the description before the reveal. You understood that container-friendly tropical rhizomes commanding premium grocery store prices were the strongest economic candidate on the list. To everyone who guessed horseradish correctly at plant 10, you understood the persistence signal. you recognize that plants which are nearly impossible to remove are exactly the ones forgotten in old yards across America. Both qualities of attention are genuinely rare, and the gardening community is better tonight for having you in it. To everyone who shared this video with a gardener friend, you passed the knowledge forward to someone who needed to see it. The world needs more gardeners like you, especially in our generation. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed so you're ready for next week's mystery list. Now, pick just one plant from this list this week. Just one. Plant it. Walk away. Come back in 6 months and see what happened. The garden is yours, and it does not have to take everything out of you to give back what you need. Plant the right plants once, and let them do the work for the next 20 years while you do everything else.